To my understanding, officials of FCD and Environment Control went there.
Reacting to the viral face-off at a press briefing in Abuja, Kachikwu condemns the controversy, saying it showed a rise in national intolerance and the dangerous trend of excusing illegal behavior against those who are disliked.
They do all sorts of things within their capacity.
Kachikwu claimed the outrage was driven by a vocal minority whose reaction was based on their pre-existing dislike of Wike, not on the details of the incident itself.
Many of us are victims of land grabbers in FCT, just like many of us are victims of so-called people who are renting out houses and rent out fake houses to us and all of those things. And you reach out and say, please, how can you assist me? I have a problem here. And they see how they can do that. But how do you use the force of law? And you say to me, a decommissioned officer, or an officer no longer under commission, because commission is the acting on the orders of the president of Nigeria. As a retired general, you no longer have that commission. How do you, an officer who has that commission, say that you took your orders from someone who has retired, and you see the chief security officer of FCT in front of you? You can say an officer wearing a uniform, because we have many people wearing fake uniforms today. You can say you cannot even recognize him to be an officer. But in this case, you have seen the minister himself that you know is the minister. And you say you don't recognize him, you cannot take orders from him. I know in FCC you have State Security Council, where you have an army commandant, where you have the DSS, state commander of DSS, you have the police commissioner and all those things. So they have that meeting because they recognize Wike as the chief security officer of FCT. How do you say you see him and he went there as a good boss because his workers' rights have been trampled upon? They said that they can't give you access. They are doing their legitimate duties. Some people will not go there. And I say, okay, you know, I'm talking to Chief of Defense Staff. But why are you talking to the Chief of Defense Staff? Will you talk to Chief of Defense Staff when it concerns you, when it concerns you, when it concerns any other person? It's about laws. So, those of us who are commoners, common men, the law is what equates all of us in this country called Nigeria, and we cannot accept a situation where the law is trampled upon. That's what worries me. That's what sickens me when I see the social media reaction. Wicked is wicked. It's not about Wike. Wike can be termed a bully. You can say Wike is garrulous, whatever you want to say about Wike. But Wike is acting in the capacity of the minister of FCT. When he stands representing the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's what's at stake here. Now, ask a valid question. If it was another minister, would the reaction have been the same?
Describing the uproar as unacceptable, Kachikwu called on President Tinubu to intervene, warning that the behavior of some officials, including the Minister of Defense, implied a lack of impartiality.
The same Minister of Defense who spoke to criticize his colleague, where is his statement? I don't know Nigerian public officials could react so fast to an issue. They are all releasing statements. Because everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon of what is seemingly popular. Is everything seemingly popular? Is it right? My worry is that because we are all sanctioning an illegality, it's my property can come in tomorrow, and any general can take over my property, and I don't have recourse to law because you tell them not to obey court orders. They can go to anybody, and you are telling me I need to speak to Minister of Defense, I need to speak to Chief of Defense Staff to access my land.
Kachikwu suggested that a small, aggressive group is exploiting the situation to their advantage, and that Yarima is now in a precarious position because of it.
The issue is, we need to go back to the drawing board. What's issue at stake? The land has no valid documentation. Whatever happens in instances like this should happen. If the minister has discretion on what he chooses to do with the matter concerning the land. Concerning the officer, what applies in situations like this under military law, under civilian law, whatever needs to happen should happen.
He adds that the soldier is reluctant to speak out, likely because he fears the repercussions from this vocal minority. Kachikwu points out that the blame is being placed solely on the minister, even though both parties were provoked.
My warning to Nigerians is this. If you allow a situation like this, because you say you hate this minister. Tomorrow, you have sanctioned any amount of illegality by military officials, by military officers on civilians. You have sanctioned it. We are in a democracy, a civilian dispensation. Where does military law and rights end, and where does civilian authority begin in a democracy? We must be very, very clear about this. I'm happy to notice that today I also see that people like Falana, Agbakoba are all speaking up now, because everybody's wondering what's going on here. We're all watching when people are celebrating something like this. I'm happy that people are now reacting, because everybody was saying, wait a minute, especially when you see the minister's colleagues all jumping on the bandwagon to say that they're supporting this illegality. Your colleague was humiliated whilst carrying out his official duties, and you're supporting that illegality, saying that he ought to have reached out to the chief of defense staff before he carries out his duties. The reality for me is this: I, as maybe Kachikwu, if I was the one in that office and I see all this rubbish going on and there's no official communication from my boss or the presidency on this matter, I would simply have resigned. It's not a do or die affair. I will not stay 1 second and let my colleagues rubbish me, or let a military officer rubbish me in the course of carrying out my official duties. I will not do it. I will never do it. So the president must address this issue immediately.
Kachikwu defends the minister, questioning the fairness of the public's judgments and the legality of the actions taken against him. Ibe Onyechi reporting for VOS TV News, Benin.